Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make a thread shank button, how to sew it on. When you're using a thicker fabric like a coating, just sewing the button on like flat against the fabric means that it will kind of pull deform the buttonhole and things won't sit flat just because of the thickness of the actual coating itself. So I'm sure that you're familiar with like a brass button with like a shank built onto the back of it. This is basically a way of doing that, creating that with a 2 or a 4 hole button. Okay, so I've marked the position of my buttons here and I'm just gonna put my button on there. I've got a doubled thread here. This is a thicker than usual thread. It's a button sewing on thread. I don't know what it's called. It's just one that I had. Whoops. The other label's fallen off, so I can't actually really tell you what it is, but it looks like that. Anyway, been using the same one for quite some time. But you should be able to find this kind of thing in your sewing shop. Okay, so I'm just gonna start by holding the button on where I want it to be. I've got one end knotted and I'm just going to come out through this hole if I can find it. There we go. Geez, that was a bit hard. One of my kids decided to come home and yell. So, so I'm just going to go down through the other button, the other hole in the button. I'm just going to, pull it. I was all set up nicely, and now I stood up to close my door, and now things are all messed up, and now I'm tangling things. Oh, geez. Okay. There we go. Okay, so don't pull it all the way snug. Just leave a little bit, and then I like to use a darning needle, or a tapestry needle, and stick that through. I'm going to take the pin out. So I've just got that there. You can also use a toothpick, or I guess a matchstick or something. I always use a darning needle or a tapestry needle just because I have them in my needle book. And so then I'm just going to take my other stitches around that. So basically we're just creating a little bit of slack when we sew it on. I'm just going to do a couple of stitches on each one. I think that'll be enough. What's going on here? Oops, got tangled around the darning needle. There we go. Okay. So I think that's all that it's going to need. If this were like a for real coat, this is actually a shacket, then you could actually reinforce it with another button on the back, but just to prevent it from pulling through if there's going to be a lot of pressure on it. But I think I'm going to mainly wear this unbuttoned, so I don't think it's necessary. Also, these are fairly small buttons on this side, so there's not going to be too much force. Okay, at this point, so I've pulled it snug. I'm going to remove the darning needle. And you see it's just formed a little bit of slack. Basically, the thicker the fabric that you're dealing with, the more slack you want. So like the thicker, like toothpick or darning needle or whatever you need. Now I'm going to go in from the back again and come out between the needle and, between the button and the fabric, as close to that shank as I can. And then I'm just going to wrap this around a few times, just to form, probably can't see it very well, but it just forms like a bit of a shank 3 or 4 times. And then I'm going to go back down through to the other side. This is actually the hardest bit because the button gets in the way, back through to the other side, to the back. Okay. And then tie it off. I'm just going to take a stitch through the other stitches that I've done, and then put my needle through the loop to kind of knot it. I just find I need to do that just a couple of times to anchor it. Cut it off. There you go. So that's how you do a thread shank button.